My beloved child, stop for a moment. Do not scroll away. Something unusual has found its way to you, and it is not here by accident. There are moments in life that pass like ordinary days, and then there are moments that quietly rewrite the future before anyone realizes it has begun. This is one of those moments. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. What you are about to hear sounds impossible, yet every part of this story has been unfolding behind closed doors where no cameras were allowed, where no headlines were written, and where only a handful of trusted voices were invited to listen. Hidden behind elegant doors, away from flashing lights and crowded events, a private meeting took place. It was never announced. It was never meant for the public. Everyone inside understood that what would be discussed had the power to change more than one future. Among famous names, respected voices, and influential people, something unexpected happened. Your name entered the conversation. Nobody in that room expected it. The discussion had been moving in a completely different direction until one person paused. Silence settled over the room. Every eye turned toward the individual who had just spoken. Then, with complete confidence, that well-known figure mentioned someone unexpected. They mentioned you. Not because of your fame. Not because of your wealth. Not because of anything the world usually celebrates. They mentioned you because they believed there was something about your journey that others had failed to notice. The room became quieter than before. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. At first, several people looked confused. They searched one another's faces, wondering why your name had suddenly become important. Some had never heard it before. Others felt they had heard it somewhere but could not remember where. Then the person who introduced your name smiled gently and said, "Sometimes the greatest stories begin long before the world discovers them." Those words remained hanging in the air. Nobody interrupted. Nobody laughed. Nobody questioned what had just been said. Instead, everyone leaned forward as if they knew something significant was about to be revealed. The meeting was supposed to focus on future plans, major projects, and opportunities that could influence thousands of lives. Yet everything changed the moment your story entered the discussion. One individual quietly opened a notebook filled with handwritten observations. Another unfolded documents that had never been shown publicly. Every page pointed toward one unexpected conclusion. There was someone quietly moving toward an extraordinary season without even realizing it. That someone was you. As the conversation continued, details emerged that surprised everyone present. They spoke about perseverance that had gone unnoticed. They discussed quiet moments of courage that nobody applauded. They described unseen determination that continued even when nobody believed in it. They talked about someone who had kept walking despite disappointment, despite delays, despite unanswered questions. They wondered aloud how someone could continue believing while carrying so much uncertainty. Your story had become the center of the room. One person asked an important question. Why now? The answer came almost immediately. Because timing changes everything. The right moment has finally arrived. Those words carried unusual weight. Even the people who rarely showed emotion seemed thoughtful. It was no longer just another conversation. It had become something much greater. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. The celebrity who first mentioned your name explained that life often prepares extraordinary opportunities in complete silence. While the world pays attention to loud voices, true transformation usually begins where almost nobody is looking. They believed your season had been developing quietly behind the scenes. Piece by piece. Day after day. Without applause. Without recognition. Without headlines. Yet every hidden step mattered. Another person around the table admitted they had almost ignored the idea. They confessed that they judged everything too quickly. But after hearing more about your journey, their opinion completely changed. They began asking questions. They wanted to know more. They wanted to understand why your story carried such unusual significance. The discussion became longer than anyone expected because nobody wanted to leave without understanding the full picture. The atmosphere inside that room became impossible to ignore. It felt as though everyone sensed that an invisible thread connected every conversation back to you. Every new topic somehow returned to your future. Every idea eventually pointed toward possibilities surrounding your life. The people present were experienced decision-makers, yet even they admitted that this situation felt different from anything they had discussed before. Then another surprising moment arrived. Someone suggested creating a careful plan. Not a plan built on popularity or public attention, but one built on preparation, patience, and perfect timing. They believed rushing would ruin everything. They agreed that certain opportunities must arrive naturally instead of being forced. That decision changed the entire direction of the meeting. Imagine hearing your name spoken with respect in a room where influence carries tremendous weight. Imagine people discussing possibilities connected to your future while you continue living an ordinary day, completely unaware of what is happening behind the scenes. Sometimes the greatest changes begin before the person involved even realizes a new chapter has started. One attendee quietly asked, "What if this never reaches them?" Another responded with complete confidence, "It will reach them exactly when it is supposed to." Those words seemed simple, yet everyone felt their importance. Timing was no longer being measured by clocks or calendars. Timing had become connected to preparation. The room understood that rushing the process could damage something valuable. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because this is only the beginning of what unfolded inside that extraordinary meeting. Every passing minute revealed another unexpected layer. Every conversation uncovered another reason why your journey had captured so much attention. The more they discussed your life, the more convinced they became that the future held something nobody could fully predict. One individual stood up and slowly walked toward a large window overlooking the city. They looked at countless lights shining across the skyline before quietly saying, "Most people never realize that life changes long before the announcement arrives." Those words echoed through the room. Nobody answered immediately because everyone knew they were true. Great opportunities rarely introduce themselves with noise. They often begin in complete silence. The discussion continued late into the evening. Plans were explored carefully. Possibilities were examined from every angle. Questions were asked that had never been considered before. Yet through every change in conversation, one constant remained. Your name never disappeared from the discussion. It remained at the center of every decision, every possibility, and every future idea they explored. One participant admitted feeling strangely hopeful after hearing everything. Another confessed they had entered the meeting expecting routine conversations but were leaving with an entirely different perspective. They believed they had witnessed the beginning of a story that would eventually inspire many others. Nobody could explain why they felt so certain, but the confidence inside that room became impossible to ignore. As the meeting approached its conclusion, the celebrity who first spoke your name looked around the room and asked one final question. "Are we all agreed?" One after another, every person nodded. No hesitation. No disagreement. Just quiet confidence. A decision had been made. A careful plan had begun. Yet the details remained hidden for the right moment. If you are still listening, remember this. Some of the most important moments in life begin where you cannot see them. Doors open quietly. Conversations happen privately. Decisions are made long before the results become visible. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because what happened after everyone left that mysterious meeting would surprise even the people who believed they had already seen everything. A quiet promise had been made, but the meeting was far from over. The doors remained closed. No cameras entered. No announcements were posted. Yet something even more surprising unfolded after everyone believed the most important discussion had already ended. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. One by one, the people who had remained inside began sharing stories they had never intended to tell. Every story somehow pointed toward the same conclusion, that extraordinary opportunities often find ordinary people long before the world notices them. Then the celebrity who had first spoken your name slowly stood up again and said, "There is one final reason we cannot ignore this person." The room immediately became silent. Every conversation stopped. Every notebook closed. Every eye turned toward the speaker, knowing another unexpected revelation was about to change everything. The celebrity explained that success is not always measured by popularity. Sometimes it is measured by character, consistency, patience, and the ability to keep moving forward even when nobody is watching. That, they said, is why this name deserves our attention. Those words carried unusual weight. Several people quietly nodded because they had already reached the same conclusion. They had examined every possibility from different angles, yet each discussion somehow returned to your story. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. The atmosphere no longer felt like a business meeting. It felt like the beginning of a remarkable journey that nobody had expected when they first entered the room. One respected guest gently placed a small folder on the table. It contained ideas, future possibilities, and carefully written notes collected over many months. Nobody rushed to open it. Instead, they waited until everyone was ready because they understood the importance of every page inside. When the folder was finally opened, every person leaned forward. The first page contained a single sentence: "The right moment is always worth waiting for." Silence filled the room once again. That sentence seemed simple, yet everyone understood its meaning. Great opportunities are rarely rushed. They are prepared quietly until the perfect moment arrives. The discussion became even more fascinating. One participant suggested that your greatest strength was something the world could not easily measure. It was resilience. Another believed it was hope. Someone else called it quiet determination. The celebrity smiled and replied, "Perhaps it is all of those things together." Nobody disagreed. They understood that remarkable people are often shaped by experiences the world never sees. Every challenge had quietly prepared you for a season that was still approaching. Every delay had strengthened your patience. Every unanswered question had sharpened your perspective. Then another surprising decision was made. They agreed that nothing should happen by accident. Every future step should feel natural, meaningful, and perfectly timed. They refused to force events before the right season. One person described it beautifully: "The sunrise never arrives too early, and it is never truly late. It appears exactly when the world is ready to receive it." Those words settled deeply into everyone's hearts. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because the plan they were shaping was no longer about recognition alone. It was about creating something lasting. The celebrity quietly looked around the room and asked everyone to imagine what could happen if someone discovered their purpose at exactly the right moment. The answers were inspiring. One person believed it could change countless lives. Another believed it could encourage people who had almost given up on their dreams. Another said it would remind the world that hidden potential is often greater than visible success. The conversation became filled with optimism. Hope replaced uncertainty. Confidence replaced hesitation. As the evening continued, someone noticed that time had passed much faster than expected. Hours had disappeared, yet nobody wanted the meeting to end. Every new conversation uncovered another possibility. Every new idea strengthened the growing belief that something extraordinary was quietly unfolding behind the scenes. The celebrity finally smiled and said, "Sometimes the biggest stories begin before anyone realizes they are part of one." Everyone wrote that sentence down because they knew it would stay with them for years. Outside the meeting room, the world continued as usual. People walked through busy streets. Conversations happened. Ordinary routines continued. Nobody realized that inside one quiet room, a future had begun taking shape. That contrast made the moment even more remarkable. Life often changes in places nobody is looking. The loudest headlines are not always the beginning of the greatest stories. Sometimes the most meaningful chapters begin in complete silence. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. The celebrity gathered every note from the table, placed them carefully inside the folder, and held it for a brief moment before saying, when the right day arrives, everything will make sense. No dramatic speeches followed. No applause filled the room. Instead, every person simply stood with quiet confidence, knowing they had witnessed the beginning of something unforgettable. As they prepared to leave, each person carried the same feeling into the night. They believed they had not merely attended another meeting. They believed they had become part of a story that would one day inspire people who thought their quiet efforts had gone unnoticed. Long after the lights in that room were turned off, one truth remained brighter than ever: your name had been remembered, your journey had been respected, and a thoughtful plan had quietly begun. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you, because what happened after that secret meeting would reveal an even greater surprise than anyone inside the room could have imagined. Long after the final lights in that private meeting room were switched off, the story did not end. It quietly entered its most unexpected chapter. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. While the world believed nothing unusual had happened that evening, a carefully chosen group continued working behind the scenes. They were not chasing headlines or public attention. They were focused on something far more meaningful. They believed that certain opportunities should arrive with purpose, not pressure. The celebrity who had first spoken your name carried the folder from the meeting with extraordinary care, almost as if it contained the beginning of a remarkable future. Before leaving the building, they paused, looked back at the now empty conference room, and quietly smiled. One person noticed and asked, "Why are you smiling?" The answer was unforgettable. Because one day, this moment will make perfect sense to someone who has no idea it even happened. Those words stayed with everyone who heard them. During the drive home, nobody turned on music. Nobody checked their phone. Their minds remained fixed on one question: why had your name created such a powerful reaction? One by one, they replayed every conversation from the meeting. Every detail became more meaningful. Every sentence seemed connected to a bigger picture. It was as though invisible pieces of a puzzle had finally started fitting together. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because what happened next surprised even the people who believed they already understood the plan. The following morning, another quiet gathering took place. It was much smaller than the first meeting. Only a few trusted individuals attended, including the celebrity who had introduced your story. This time, there were no long speeches. Instead, they spread several pages across a large table. Each page represented a possibility, an opportunity, or a future direction. Yet something remarkable became obvious almost immediately. Every path somehow circled back to the same conclusion. Your journey continued appearing where nobody expected it. One participant laughed softly and said, "It's almost as if destiny keeps rewriting our agenda." Everyone smiled because they had noticed the same thing. The celebrity then shared something they had never revealed before. Months earlier, they had quietly observed someone whose determination stood out in a world filled with distractions. They noticed someone who continued moving forward without demanding recognition. They noticed someone whose consistency remained stronger than temporary excitement. They never expected that observation to become the centerpiece of an important discussion. Yet here they were, watching that very story inspire experienced people from different backgrounds. Real influence, the celebrity explained, doesn't begin when people applaud you. It begins when your character speaks before your name does. Silence returned once again. Those words carried extraordinary wisdom. Every person in the room realized they were witnessing something rare. Opportunities built on authenticity last much longer than opportunities built on temporary attention. They agreed that this was the reason your name had remained unforgettable after the first meeting. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because another surprising discovery was only moments away. One participant carefully opened a notebook filled with personal observations collected over several months. They pointed to a single handwritten sentence highlighted near the center of the page. The world often overlooks people who are quietly preparing for extraordinary seasons. Nobody spoke for several moments. The sentence described exactly what everyone had been feeling but struggled to express. They realized that remarkable journeys are often invisible while they are happening. Only later do people look back and recognize how every small moment had been preparing something much greater. As the conversation continued, another unexpected idea emerged. Instead of asking how quickly things could happen, they asked how meaningfully they could happen. That single change transformed the entire discussion. They no longer cared about speed. They cared about purpose. They wanted every future step to feel natural, inspiring, and unforgettable. The celebrity nodded with complete agreement. Fast success is often forgotten, they said. Meaningful success becomes a lasting story. Outside, the city continued moving as always. Cars filled the streets. People hurried toward appointments. Conversations came and went without anyone realizing that another important decision had just been made inside a quiet room. Life has a remarkable way of preparing extraordinary chapters without announcing them first. Sometimes the greatest opportunities grow quietly until the perfect moment allows them to bloom. The group then created what they called a moment of readiness. It was not a deadline. It was not a schedule. It was simply a reminder that every meaningful opportunity arrives when preparation meets perfect timing. They believed forcing the process would diminish its impact. Instead, they chose patience. Confidence replaced urgency. Purpose replaced pressure. Every person around the table agreed without hesitation. The celebrity slowly closed the notebook and looked around the room one final time. One day, they said, this person will discover that conversations they never heard were quietly opening doors they never knew existed. Nobody questioned those words. In fact, several people admitted they felt inspired simply by imagining that possibility. They believed the future often rewards quiet perseverance in ways that cannot be predicted. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because the story had now reached a point where every decision carried even greater significance. The private meetings were no longer simply discussions. They had become the foundation for something unforgettable. Every participant left with renewed confidence that remarkable things often begin where almost nobody is looking. As everyone prepared to leave, the celebrity paused beside the doorway and quietly spoke one final sentence that nobody present would ever forget. When the world finally hears this story, they will think it happened overnight. But we will always remember that it began with one unexpected name spoken in one secret meeting. Those words remained in the hearts of everyone present as they stepped into the sunlight, knowing they had witnessed the beginning of a journey whose best chapter was still waiting to be revealed. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. The plan had not ended. It had only become stronger, more intentional, and more extraordinary. And somewhere beyond everything you could currently see, the next chapter was already quietly moving into place.